it up. All right, Chavra. B'Shem Kol Yisrael, L'Kavod Shabbos, L'Kavod Shavuos, L'Kavod Yom Yerushalayim. A lot is going on, Baruch Hashem. And let's get right into it. Atfil B'Shem Kol Yisrael for Pesach Ha'ubim Midin Osef Baruch Abbas Yehudis, Miriam Dalibas Chani Ochaved, Yona Bas Basa, Shir Bas Basa, Sadar Ubim and Money, every neshama in Klal Yisrael. Yibon Shalom, grant us holy wisdom and intelligence. Let us always see all things in the light of the holy wisdom they contain, and so attach ourselves to you through everything in this world. Everything. Let us understand the constant messages and signals you send us to come closer to you. Beseder. Halacha l'maisa. Halacha b'shem kol Yisrael. So, Chaver, we're in the Indian of laws of Asher Yatzar and proper behavior in the bathroom. There was a couple halachos previously that, got a little PG-13-ish, but Gavalt, let's just go right through it. Weiter. Each time that a person defecates or urinates, even if it's only one drop, he should wash his hands with water and recite the Asher Yatzar blessing. If one urinated or moved his bowels and forgot to recite the Asher Yatzar blessing, and subsequently he urinated or moved his bowels again, and then remember that he did not recite the blessing the first time, he needs to recite the blessing only once, right? Not twice, only once. L'maisa, Chaver, one who took a laxative and knows that he'll have to move his bowels many times, the laxative runs its course, should not recite the Asher Yatzar blessing until the effects of the laxatives are finished. Gaval, because you'll have to go. You'll feel the urge to go every couple of minutes. Gavalt. Chavra, this is a longer Torah on the soul of Jerusalem, but I feel like this Torah is very imperative, and it's a Torah that really is going to send us a million miles deeper than where we were previously. We're about to enter into the wisdom of Rav Aaron of Karlin. Now, there's a Torah from Rav Karlin that we shared previously. I don't remember the Torah exactly. I have to get it. It's a beautiful Torah. Maybe we'll say tomorrow. But let's hear a quote from Rav Karlin. Rav Aaron of Karlin says, before we get into it, righteous people are those who constantly wait for opportunities to do good so that they can utilize it. So it's good to know, Rav Aaron of Karlin, Chaver, we could take that in our lives, the Maisa, Mamish, when we have something in front of our eyes, right? We just prayed for the holy wisdom. We should see the holy wisdom in everything, really just see the opportunities in everything. Chaver, let's learn a little bit right now. Physically, a person lives in a house and walks on a street. Even while we are on that street, we'll never forget where you actually live, where we live. By our address. Deep down in our hearts, will always be thinking about when we are going back to that place. Right? It's the same thing Rav Aaron Karlin explains. When you talk about anything which has to do with this world, since you really have to know that you are not from this world. Here, you are only on the streets, so to speak, but your home is really somewhere else. Even if your thoughts, you always have to think, when am I going back? When am I going back to that home, Chabra? A lot of people are very frum, says Rav Shlomo. They're very sweet and very cute and are very holy. But the question is, where do we mamish live? Where do you mamish live? Where does your neshama live? Where does our neshamos live? How long can we stay away? Let's say, for instance, if I leave my house, I could be gone for a few minutes without announcing it to everyone, without announcing it to social media, to Twitter, the whole thing. But if I walk away for a long time, right, you have to tell the close ones, you have to tell the wife, you have to tell the kids, you have to tell your close friends, tell your work. You can take off from deep things and holy things for a little while. But the question is, Chavra, does it need an announcement? Does it need Twitter? If you can walk away and get lost somewhere, that means that spiritually you don't have a home yet. It means you don't live anywhere yet. And we'll see what this means in a second. Chavra, just Let's open our hearts a little bit deeper. There's a lot of ideas going on, and hopefully we'll connect to many of them. When you walk on the street, you don't take everything with you. When you move, you change your address. It might be only 1 inch away, maybe in another apartment in the same house, but you are somewhere else now. So a person has to always be on these two levels. Where are you? Where is your home? And how long are you away for? These are the 3 questions we need to be asking ourselves. Now, on one level, a person has to keep on walking. You have to keep on moving, not to be in the same place as yesterday. Still in a very holy way, we also must have a house that you don't move away from. There has to be a certain place where this is where I live. This is where we live. I can't get away for a long time. We can't get away for a long time. Now let's take the example of Shabbos, where we could walk on the street and someone tells us, some stupid jokes, right? Or talks about things that are not Shabbostic, quote unquote. But we are itching. We have that itching. I have to get back to Shabbos. I have to get back to Shabbos talk. I have to get back to the holiness of Shabbos. If you can stay away from Shabbos too long, that means my house is not so full of Shabbos. However, this is deep. This is deep. Now, when it comes to learning, right, this is very important. However, we have to open up our hearts even deeper. How long can you stay away from learning? If you can stay away for a long time, then you were never really there. So Rav Aaron of Karliner is saying, Chavra, that a person has to know exactly where he is living. Where do you live spiritually? Where is your home? Even while you're away, don't stay away too long, and always remember that you've got to go back. Why is it so hard for some people to do teshuvah? Or for other people, it's not so hard. It's very simple. People who had a house, even for 1 minute, mamish 1 moment, you can go back. You know where you live. Even if I stay away from home for a long time, I can go back, right? Because I know that place. I know that living space. A person who never had a home, who never had a spiritual home, where should he go to? What does teshuvah mean to that person? What does teshuvah mean to him? Achnasas Orsin Chavra. Avram Avinu, like we learned yesterday, Mamish began Yiddishkeit. Right? Welcoming our guests to your home is the most incredible thing in the world. It's so incredibly important, Chavra. Do you know what it means to take somebody into your house? The greatest mitzvah in the world is to invite someone into your house. It is spiritual, not just physical. I can give my life to somebody else, somebody who has no address whatsoever, right? Who didn't have that minute, that moment, that second of knowing what a house really is like, what living in a house is like, right? So I invite them to our house, to my house, and suddenly they'll feel so much at home, right? Imagine someone comes to Yerushalayim and he has nowhere to stay. Invite him to your house, Chavra. And deep down, even while they're walking down the street, they have a feeling, you know something? I have to go back to my house, right? I have to go back to the house, Chavra. This is the importance of Achnasas Orchin. They were only invited, but it's still very strong. Now, Rav Shlomo wants us to know something that's very, very strong, very, very deep. There are 2 ways of learning. I can teach somebody something, or on the deepest level, I teach somebody on the level of inviting them to my house. This is very deep, Chavra, because the difference is very simple. If it's just on the level of teaching, then when you walk out, you have nothing to come back to, right? It's not a house. But if it was on the level of inviting you to my house, to where I stand and learning, you feel so much at home there. It becomes a part of you, part of your home. So even if you get lost for a little bit, you could always come back. You could always return to the house because you know and you felt where that person was, where that person is when he's learning. You feel that sense of house. Rav Shlomo tells us so beautifully that there's 2 types of rabbis, right? There's a rabbi that gives information, and then there's a rabbi that connects his students to the deepest, deepest part of their souls, to the deepest depths. Do we really know what Eretz Yisrael is? Right, the holiness is that it's mamish God's house. Yerushalayim is his house, literally, Chavra. Even more, he made it our house as well. Right, God made it so much our house that we can be away for 2,000 years and still know to go back. Right, the center is Yerushalayim. We're all trying to get to Yerushalayim. Right, we have 19 days until Yom Yerushalayim. We're all going to be together, physically or figuratively. We're going to be there together. Right, but imagine if for 2,000 years, Yidden wouldn't open a book, wouldn't keep Shabbos, and suddenly he feels that he has to go back to Shabbos. He has to learn that book. He has to learn those holy Sfarim. That is the power of the Holy Land, Chavra. It is our house. We never really got lost. We always go back to it. The difference between Har Sinai and Eretz Yisrael is very simple. On Har Sinai, God gave us the Torah, but we quickly got lost and made a golden calf. But from Eretz Yisrael, you can't get lost because it's our house. It's our house, Chavra. The teaching of Yerushalayim and Chavra, to conclude, is on the level of the house. It is our house, our only house. And how long can we be away from it? Chavra, let's all book our plane tickets to Yerushalayim. Apparently, they just opened up an airport there. Gaval, do they have a train station? Let's book our tickets to Yerushalayim. Chavra, Bezrat Hashem, we should bring Yerushalayim wherever we are, the holiness of Yerushalayim, not just in this physical place, but also in our homes, in our learning, in our Shabbos, in other people. Share Yerushalayim with other people. Share Shabbos with other people. Bezrat Hashem, Chavra, we should always know that we have a house to return to, no matter how long we've been away from. Same thing with Hashem, same thing with Torah, same thing with ourselves. Mamish, it's never too late because we already know that we were there. Chavra, be well. Simcha, health, success, everything we do, and we'll return tomorrow.